Welcome to the Middleville campus as well. Where's the camera? Hey, you guys, glad to have you with us as well. Wish I could be there to see you in person as well. Thank you for those leaders that showed up yesterday here for the training. How many of you in this room were here yesterday? Anybody? Oh, wow. My goodness gracious. That's a lot of you. Okay, great. You came back. You came back to hear me again. Oh, you're gluttons for punishment, aren't you? All right. Hey, I am excited about spending this time with you. Yesterday, before I do this, all right, I need some help. Okay, so Middleville, they told me that I can't go past here and here, okay, because I'll go off camera. And so I have to enlist some help because I'm a walker. Those of you here yesterday, I'm a walker, all right? And so, young man right here, all right, I need your help. If I go right here, if I go past here, you go, no, stop, okay? And then, young lady right here, if I go past here, you go, no, stop, okay? Just stop me, all right? That's your job. You have a role, okay? Now, I've written some books. I'm going to tell you about one of them in just a moment. And I got to tell a story about your pastor here, all right? So several years ago, I wrote a book called Leading Others. It teaches you how to lead other people. I'm going to give that to you so you can fire it at me. I gave Ryan one yesterday, didn't I? Yeah, all right. And then I wrote another one called Leading Leaders. By the way, I pulled these out of your pastor's office. I'm giving away his books. All right, and so this is how to lead leaders. So I'm going to give you that one right there. And that was a bad throw. That was not a bad catch. That was a bad throw. Maybe I should play for the Chiefs today to help them to help them lose. All right, and then I wrote another book called Leading a Department. All right, it's how you lead a bigger area of the department. I'm going to give that to you right here just because you look good today. All right, and you're sitting in the front row. You're sitting in the front row. And then I wrote another book called Leading the Organization. That's John, you didn't have that in your office. And so somebody do him a favor and get him that book and get it in his office, all right? But he didn't have that one, so I can't give that one away. So I wrote that book, 4 books in that series. And that was my plan. I'm going to write 4 books. That's it. Well, it didn't end up that way. So what happened is John called me. And he said, hey, I love your book series. When is Leading Yourself coming out? So I'm not writing that book. I said, John, you must not have read the introduction because every one of those books, all 4 of the previous books, the bottom of the leadership pipeline is Leading Yourself. But I'm not writing that book because I feel like there's a lot of good discipleship stuff out there. So I'm not writing that book. It's stated very clearly. You can read it right there in front of the book. And so John says, no, you have to write that book. And I said, no, John, I'm not going to write that book. I'm writing a book every year for the past 4 years. I need a break. He said, Mac, no, you don't understand. We don't need another book on basic discipleship, how to share your faith and how to pray and how to study about. He said, we need a book, Lead Yourself, like stuff on like how to live on mission, emotional intelligence, how to have a teachable spirit, how to be a team player. And I'm like, ooh, that's good. That's good, John. And so, because of John, I had to write this one. All right. And so, thank you. Now I can say thank you now that the year's over with. I'm finished writing it. Thank you. But you do not get royalties, though. Okay. Hey, let me go back. I met you yesterday. You met me yesterday. But this is part of my family. These are the important people. All right. These are the grandkids. All right. My kids are not in this picture. They were there. They took the picture, but they're not in the picture. How many Brandon Lake fans? Any Brandon Lake fans? And yeah, I met you yesterday. Yeah. And so the blonde boy on the left, the 2 blonde boys on the left, those are Brandon's youngest and his middle, and the one on the far right, that's his oldest. All right. And so, see the young one, see the crazy wild hair, tongue sticking out and all that? By the way, Brandon posted today on his Instagram, they have his hair in a bun today. It's finally long enough to have a bun. The other 2, they had long hair just like that, and they used to wear ponytails and buns and all that, just like Brandon has the different hairstyles. They had the same thing, and then they stayed with me one day, and we're at Chick-fil-A, and this man comes up and says, well, aren't those the cutest 2 little girls? Oh no, oh no. And so we get in the car, we're driving back, and Blaze said, Pops, I want to cut my hair. I said, you want to cut your hair? That's up to you and your daddy. Well, I said, what? But if you were to cut your hair, what do you want your hair to look like? I want it to look like yours. He's like going to go the opposite extreme, you know. Anyway, it was about 2 weeks later, both of them cut their hair. So Brandon's working on the youngest, trying to get him to keep his hair long. I won't go into the others, but look at poor Miller. That's my daughter. She's our baby. Look at her. She's in the middle there, and it's like she's going, Lord Jesus, why did you put me in this family? These people are crazy. And so anyway, that's my family. So thank you, John, for helping me. Well, you didn't help me. You didn't lift a finger. I mean, you called me and made me write the book. But anyway, thank you for that. And when I came and spoke yesterday, he said, would you stay over and preach? And so I said yes. And he said, we talk about leading yourself. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. So today's less of a sermon, and can we sort of position today as a little bit of a workshop, all right? Because I'm going to make you do some work, and so if you got a pen, get ready. I want you to do some work here. All right. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about living on mission, which is chapter 1 of the book. And the reason I want to talk to you about that, originally I was going to talk to you about all aspects of the book, but at the last minute I made a change and said, no, I'm just going to talk about chapter 1, which is living on mission. And here's why I got excited about talking to you guys about this is before I even wrote the book, I was in Charlotte, and I did a leadership event like I did yesterday with you guys, but then I did this other little thing with a smaller group of about 25 of their leaders. It was Q&A. And it was a 3-hour Q&A. And it turned into one of the hours, I spontaneously did this. I guided them through how to write a life mission statement. And we took giant Post-its, and they were writing on the Post-its and stuff like that. And I was just floored at how engaged they were with writing their life mission statement. They were so excited about it. I mean, they were over there writing it, and they were sharing with each other and talking. You didn't raise your book. You did not raise your book. All right, give me that book back. No. Good job. Good. I got 2 of them over here. Good job. All right. And so, don't worry. I'm not coming back there. He's like, no, don't come back here. All right. And so what was I saying? Oh, yeah. And so they were so excited about the life mission statement. So that's chapter 1 in the book. And you guys, I've been blown away at the response to chapter 1. A guy called me 2 weeks ago. I mean, just weeping. I barely know this guy, but somehow he got my number. And he called me, and he's just weeping. And he said, Mac, I'm 34 years old. And I read chapter 1, and I'm crafting my life mission statement. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I wish I could go back to my 20s and relive some stuff, because now I see what God's designed me to do. I got another guy. He's blowing up my phone this morning. And he's like, I won't read it to you, but it's like, he's like, I literally woke up in the middle of the night, and it came to me. I crafted my statement. He's been working on it for a couple of weeks, and he shared what it was, and he's just so pumped. It's given him a whole new outlook on life. He's 58 years old, whole new outlook on life. So excited because he's discovering his life mission statement. And I've discovered there are so many people who don't know why they exist. They don't know their purpose. And I want to tell you, God's created you for a purpose. Every one of you. You're not too young. You're not too old. He's created every one of you for a purpose. He's got a mission for you to accomplish. But yet there are so many people who just drift through life without direction. They just scroll aimlessly through whatever app they have, social media app. Or they just live throughout their day just so they can get home and binge Netflix. Nothing wrong with binging Netflix. I like a little binging Netflix. But if you're just getting through your day just so your purpose and your greatest joy is just to binge Netflix in the evening, man, where's the sense of mission? Where's the sense of calling? Where's the sense of purpose? I find that so many people are bored in life. They've got it on autopilot, and they're just cruising through life, and they haven't discovered a purpose. They're just living a life of complacency instead of a life of calling and purpose and meaning. I read a study that said 57% of Americans wonder at least once a month. They ask themselves, how can I find more meaning and purpose in my life? That's a lot of people still looking for purpose. So I'm going to tell you this. If your daily actions are not aligned with an ultimate mission, then it feels like something's missing. If your daily actions are not aligned with the ultimate mission, it feels like something's missing. It just feels like something's missing in your life because we all know we were created for more. There's a fascinating verse. I just thought about this just a little bit ago. This fascinating verse. I looked it up. I got to thinking about it. It's 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 12. And all chapter 1 of 1 Peter is talking about salvation. And the very end of the verse says this, even angels long to look into these things. So Peter's talking about salvation, and he says, even angels long. That Greek word means to yearn. There's a yearning. They long to look into our life, our salvation, the grace that we've experienced, the mission that we're on. And I love this Greek word. It says look into. They yearn to look into. The Greek word means to stoop over and look and observe closely. So there are angels in heaven who are literally stooping over, watching believers to go, what's it like? What's it like to be saved by grace and be given a life mission? What's it like? So I thought about this. I want you to imagine there's an angel. We'll call him Steve. All right? You with me? Steve? All right. Steve is an angel. And he's been assigned to stoop over and follow you for a week. That's his assignment. He's going to follow you. He's going to watch everything you do, how you spend your time, how you spend your money, who you hang out with, where you go. He's going to watch everything you do for a solid week, 24/7. Steve's not a creeper. He's just on assignment, okay? He's just on assignment. And so he's on assignment. He's watching you because here's his assignment. At the end of the week, Steve's going to take his pen and paper after watching you, and he's going to write down what your life mission is based on what he observed. The reason, because you see, he's watching. He wants to know, what's it like to be you? What's the mission that God's given you? And so here's the question. If Steve watched you last week, what life mission statement would he write for your life? Are you living on mission? I was blessed because when I was a young student at 21 years old at Moody Bible Institute, Dr. Sweeting, the president, used to tell us, gentlemen, when you get to the end of your life, be able to say, this one thing I did, not these many things I dabbled in. That stuck with me. I never forgot it. It anchored in my soul. And I was like, God, I want to live my life for that one mission that you've called me to. But I got to discover it. What is it? Now, I want to show you something before we get into the workshop part. Before I put you to work and have you work on your life mission statement. I'm going to give you 4 steps for writing a life mission statement. But before we do that, I want to show you that Jesus was a man on a mission. He lived with mission. We know that. I mean, we know this. Does Jesus have purpose? Oh, yeah, he had purpose. Does Jesus have mission? Oh, yeah, he had mission. But let's look at what it was. All right, I think his mission is summed up in 2 verses. In Luke 4, he quotes this from Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. That's why he sent me. He has sent me to do what? To proclaim freedom to the prisoners, recover sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Jesus is saying, hey, this is why I came. I came to serve people like this. And then Mark 10 says, for even the Son, he told his disciples, for even the Son of Man didn't come to be served. He came to serve and give his life a ransom for many. And so this would be Jesus' mission. But let's look at how he lived it. If you were here yesterday, you saw me share this chart. And this is a chart I put together of the public ministry of Jesus. It starts in 26 AD, goes through 30 AD, and it's laid out winter, spring, summer, and fall. I just want to make a couple of observations from this chart. When you look at this and you begin to study this, I want you to see how Jesus lived on mission. All right, so we see that he came in the fall of 26. He was baptized. He faced his 40 days of temptation, and then he gathered a few first followers, and then he visits Capernaum. Not a lot happening here yet. Not a lot happening here yet. He just sort of getting to know some people. And then in the spring of 27, he cleanses the temple, gets people's attention. This is in Jerusalem, by the way, okay? So really now he's in Jerusalem. He cleanses the temple. There could have been 500,000 to 1 million people there. And word spread when he did that, by the way. Now it's like, whoa, who is this guy? And word's starting to spread because John the Baptist had already prepared the way. Oh, this is the guy that's claiming to be the Messiah, to save us and rescue us. That's who this guy is. Now word is spreading like crazy. Now what he does next is he begins to baptize in his early Judean ministry. Again, spring of 27. So he's in the Judea region, which is in southern part of Israel, and he's baptizing and he's preaching. Oh, thank you. Look at that. Both of these guys on top of it. They stopped me. And so he's baptizing. Now, wait a minute. John the Baptist was baptizing in the southern region. Where's John? Oh, Jesus sent him north. Jesus sent him to the northern part of Israel. Okay, why did he do that? What was John's mission? What was John's life mission? To prepare the way for the Messiah. He'd already prepared the way in the south. Now he's going up north to prepare the way in the north. So what's Jesus doing? He's spreading the word in the south. And then look where he goes next. He goes to Samaria next. He starts remember the woman at the well? And he starts a revival in Samaria. People are coming to Jesus and just believing in him. Just starts a revival in Samaria. All right? And so he's gone from Jerusalem to Judea to Samaria. Now, look what he does next. Again, very purposeful. Now, Jesus, he lived in Nazareth. You have to understand that Nazareth sets up on this high hill overlooking the Jezreel Valley. Nazareth had about 100 people, population of 100 to 200 people. Very small place. In the middle of nowhere, on top of a mountain, nobody went there. Jesus says, you know what? I'm going to move to Capernaum at this point. Why does he move to Capernaum? Because there were 16 ports around the Sea of Galilee, and Capernaum was the busiest trade port on all of the Sea of Galilee. Now, also, check out this map. The international highway goes right through Capernaum. The international highway was the main trade route in all of the world at this point, and everybody went through Capernaum. So what does this mean? Again, think about Acts 1:8. What does Acts 1:8 tell? What's Acts 1:8 say? It says, hey, disciples, go spread the gospel in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, utter ends of the earth. Very intentional strategy. Now look what Jesus is doing. He's already done Jerusalem. He's already done Judea. He's in Samaria. Now he's going to Capernaum. And what happens? People are coming every day through Capernaum for trade to go all around the world. And what's Jesus doing? He sets up shop in Capernaum where he's teaching and he's preaching and he's healing. And every day people would hear this. Travelers would hear it. And they would leave the next day and travel another 18 miles, and the next day 18 miles, and the next day 18 miles. And as they would travel, they would go, there's this guy Jesus. Well, there's this guy Jesus. And you guys, I saw him heal somebody. He told this incredible story. He said this incredible teaching. And now his word is spreading across the world. Jesus modeled an Acts 8:1 strategy long before he ever taught it. Look at this. Oh, goodness, I got to hurry through this. But see the two circles and where it says Galilean tour? There were 240 villages in Galilee. Little villages in the region of Galilee, up in northern part of Israel. 240 little villages. And we know that in those two circles I just showed you, that Jesus went through these little villages of Galilee preaching the kingdom of God. He's spreading the gospel. He's living out on his mission. He's living out his mission. Now look at this. 21 months into his public ministry, he chooses 12 apostles, 12 key leaders. What does he do with them? He takes them on a tour through the 240 villages of Galilee. He's modeling for them how to preach the kingdom of God. So again, he's living on his mission. He said, I'm going to recruit some other guys in on this mission. And then look what happens next. He sends them out 2 by 2. So how strategic is this guy? It's mind-blowing. He divides this region up 2 by 2, sends them out 2 by 2, and now each of the apostles paired up with somebody is going out, and they're going to take about 40 villages each. Very strategic. Then Luke 9. Luke 9, look what it says. At this time, as the time approached for him to be taken up to heaven, this is just before his crucifixion, Jesus resolutely set out for Jerusalem. That Greek word means to set one's mind or will towards something, to have a determination. He's on mission. He's on mission. That word was used to set your chin towards something. He is living on mission. And look what he does. Right up there in 29 AD, the winter of 29 AD. Oops, I circled the wrong one, you guys. It's supposed to be 30 AD. Over in the 30 AD, he sends out the 70. He sends out 70 this time. Why? Because he's having them go, there it is, he's having them blanket this whole territory 2 by 2 to spread the gospel all the way down to Jerusalem. Very, very strategic. And then you've got Jesus' Great Commission. His Great Commission. This is when he calls he had told his disciples, he said, hey, I want you to meet me at a mountain. There's a certain mountain. I want you to meet me there. It would have been Mount Arbel. And then on Mount Arbel, this is what he said. Therefore, go make disciples of all nations. He said, guys, I want you to keep extending my mission, my life mission. And I was there a couple years ago and I shot this video. And it's on this place right here that Jesus says, guys, disciples, go make disciples of all nations. Man, he's casting a vision for them to continue the mission that he has been on. Absolutely fascinating. Jesus lived with such intentionality and such purpose. And these 12 went on and they changed the known world, planting churches all over the world. Now, Jesus had a mission. And he gave these men a mission, and he's given us a mission. He's got a mission for you. And so I want to dive in. I want to give you 4 steps to help you think through your life mission. 4 steps, all right? Step number 1 is identify, whoops, I already gone too far. There we go. Step number 1, identify your strengths. Identify your strengths. 2 Timothy 1:6. Paul's writing to Timothy, and he says, fan into flame the gift that God has given you. Fan into flame the gift that God has given you. I love this verse because he's saying, I want you to, the Greek word means to fan a flame that's going out, but don't stop fanning it. He's saying, young Timothy, there's a strength that you've been given. I want you to fan that strength. I want you to grow that strength. Young people in the room, listen, don't worry about trying to fan and grow your weaknesses. Don't beat yourself up about your weaknesses. Find out what your strengths are and fan those strengths. Strengthen your strengths. Don't try to strengthen your weaknesses. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to get you off target. Years ago, I read a book by Marcus Buckingham called Go Put Your Strengths to Work. And I was struggling at that point, trying to figure out, what are my strengths? What am I good at? And he gave an assignment. I'll give you this assignment to help you identify your strengths. He gave an assignment that was so good. The book came with red cards and green cards. And he said, for like 10 days, carry these cards with you. And every time you do something that just energizes you, you go, I love doing this. This was fun. This was great. I love doing this. Write it on the green card, what you were doing. Okay? So like when I was teaching or I was coaching or I was mentoring, I would write that down. Oh, I love this. It brings me energy. And then he said, if you do something that you don't like doing, so like for me, administrative work, communicating details about things, organizing things, he said, that sort of thing, put it on the red card if it drains you. And then at the end of 10 days, you lay out your red cards and you lay out your green cards and you look at your green cards and you study them and you go, okay, what are my top 3 strengths? And so I studied those things and I thought, oh my goodness, my top strengths are training people, creating content, and leadership. That's what I love to do. My weaknesses, administration, communicating details, and organizing. That's my weaknesses. I don't need to do that. Know what your strengths are. So do that little exercise. And if you want to write a life mission statement, before you write your life mission statement, you have to identify what your strengths are. Because, listen, there are some things you're just not good at. And I used to go, I got to be good at everything. You do not have to be good at everything. God's made you good at a few things. Identify those things because he's made you good at it for a reason. There's a reason he's made you good at those things. Step number 2, articulate your passion. Articulate your passion. I remember I was taking a class in 1990, and the teacher of the class said, what is your passion? I want everybody to write down your passion. I went, my passion? I have no clue what my passion is. I don't know. Never thought about it. And so I really struggled. I think I was 29 at the point, and I'm like, I don't know what my passion is. I had to wrestle with it for a couple of weeks until I began to identify what my passion was. A passion is not just something that excites you. It's a deep-seated drive that compels you to make a difference. And I discovered that my passion is leadership development. I just love developing leaders. And now developing leaders that develop leaders, that's my passion. And for a lot of you, you haven't discovered your passion yet. You need Paul's words to Timothy is, hey, discover, take that little spark and fan into flame that passion, that strength. And so for others of you, you had a passion, but it's died out. For some reason, it died. It squelched. Maybe somebody threw cold water on top of your passion and said, you can't do that. Why are you always excited about that? But yet it's the thing that you get excited about. It brings you passion. It brings you energy. It brings you joy. So how do you discover your passion? I'll give you 3 things that you can do. Okay, you're not going to be all 3 of these. You'll be one of them. Okay, but one way you can discover your passion is there a problem you would like to solve? Is there a problem you would like to solve? Sometimes our passion is focused on a specific issue. That if you find yourself complaining about the world or the community about something, maybe that's a problem that you would like to solve. Christine Kane, hers was human trafficking. It just drove her crazy. And so she started an organization to rescue people who are being trafficked. And then Francis Chan, his passion is complacency in the modern church, and his passion is to reinvent discipleship in the church and revigorate, whatever that word is, to discipleship in the church. And so here's the question for you. What issues or challenges in the world ignite a passion in you to act? And if you had unlimited resources, which one would you focus on solving? For some of you in this room, this is the critical question that's going to help you discover your passion. For others of you, you went, nothing. That's okay. That's okay, because there's number 2. Places or people that you resonate with or that you love. Is there a place you resonate with or a people that you love? For Tim Keller, it's urban centers. When he was alive, his passion was to help church planters plant in difficult areas. For Amy Carmichael, it was dedicated her life to serving the people of India, providing a safe haven for exploited children. Find a place where they could be safe and rescued. And so here's the question. What communities or groups of people are you naturally drawn to help? And is there a specific place or region that holds a special place in your heart? For some of you, this is going to help you discover your passion. Not all of you, but for some of you, this could be it. All right? Third, a pain you've experienced in your life. Sometimes it's that past pain in our life that's me. Because I was not a good leader. And I struggled in leadership. And a guy came alongside me and he discipled me in leadership and it solved that problem. And I just became passionate about it. For Dave Ramsey, he experienced bankruptcy, financial failure. So what happened? He developed a passion. He developed a passion for teaching people to manage their finances in a biblical manner. And so here's the question. What significant challenges or hardships have you faced? And how have they shaped your desire to support others going through a similar or same situation? Answering one of those can help you discover your passion. Now, step number 3 in writing your mission statement, you've identified your strength. You identified a passion. Now the third area is I want you to dream about your desired impact. What's the impact you want to make with your life? A lot of people never think about this, but we got to think about it. Because Jesus said, you are the light of the world. You're supposed to be a light. There's an impact you're supposed to have. Again, for me, it's become discipling Christian leaders who will disciple other leaders to see a multiplication effect. But let me give you another example. It's an example that blew me away that I personally got to witness. In 2003, the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, read Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life. He read the book and he was like, I want to build a purpose-driven nation. And so he called Rick Warren and he said, Rick, I want to build a purpose-driven nation. And Rick said, well, it just so happens that my church, we've put together a strategy called the Peace Plan where we want to go into nations and help them with poverty and health care and education and leadership and spiritual issues. And so Rick flew over and met with Paul, and they sat and they began to talk about what a purpose-driven nation could look like, because Paul's like, this is my desired outcome. I want to transform my nation because you see it had been ravaged. It had already been ravaged by the genocide from 1994. Millions of Rwandans murdered. A million orphans in that nation. And Paul's like, we got to change the situation of this nation. So the government partnered up with Rick and his church. And for 10 years, they began to work to transform Rwanda. Rick called us and said, hey, I want you to go to Rwanda with me. Me, Cindy, and my daughter, Brianna. We went with Rick to Rwanda in 2013. And I was blown away. We got on, this scared me to death, got on this military helicopter. And flew to the 5 different provinces of Rwanda. And what we witnessed was remarkable. A transformed country. A place that had very little health care now had brand new hospitals. Every village had nurses. That Saddleback Church had gone over and trained nurses in all the villages across the country. Instead of 1 million orphans, they were down to about 4,000 orphans. It was unbelievable, all because one man said, my mission is to have a purpose-driven nation. And we saw the transformation as we flew across this nation. And it scared me to death, because every time we get on this helicopter, Rick would make my daughter, that's my daughter in the middle, make her stick her head out that porthole when we're 10,000 feet above the air. It scared me to death. Anyway, Paul made a huge difference. President Kagame made a huge difference in that nation. Now, hey, you may not be the president of a nation. I know that. But there's a desired impact that God wants you to have with your life. There's an impact He wants you to have with your life. And so, pray about what that is. Now, how do you step forward? How do you write a life mission statement? You bring it all together. One, you got to pray about it and ask God, what did you create me to do? Second, you got to process it. Write down your strength when you discover it. Your strengths, 2 to 3 strengths. Your passion, and then the desired outcome. You write those 3 things down, and then you begin to process it. And then you put it to paper. You put it down on paper. And you have a life mission statement. Here's my wife's. To encourage women to believe the power of God's Word, cultivating faith, love, and joy in their homes that nurture world changers to impact generations to come. That's my wife's life mission statement. Let me read one more. This is a teacher. I don't have it up here, but this is a teacher, Mary. To ignite a love for learning in students. That's her passion. By utilizing my skills of creative teaching and curriculum development strengths to foster critical thinking and academic excellence so students can maximize their God-given strengths. That's the desired impact. And so it's as simple as this little formula. Strengths plus passion, desired impact equals mission. Just put those 3 things down. Now, here's what we've done. Your church generously purchased copies of Leading Yourself for You. Unfortunately, they were not shipped on time. Amazon was behind on their shipping, and so they did not make it. We're hoping they'll be here next week. But if you scan this code, you get chapter 1 free. You don't have to submit your email or anything, but if you scan this code, you get chapter 1 for free. I want to close with this. Would you close your eyes just for a second? And I want you to picture you standing in front of you. Okay? You're standing there and you're looking at you right in the face. But here's the thing. It's not today's you that you're looking at. It's 100-year-old you. Congratulations, you made it to 100. And you're looking 100-year-old you in the face. And 100-year-old you is looking back and saying, you did it. You fulfilled God's purpose for your life. You lived a life on mission. 100-year-old you is congratulating you on living on mission. Now, in the next 30 seconds, I'm just going to be quiet. And I want you to allow 100-year-old you to give today's you advice. What advice would 100-year-old you give you? What changes do you need to make? What do you need to do to really fulfill God's mission for your life? 30 seconds and just think about this. You guys, I want to challenge you. Download that chapter or take the book next week. Read chapter 1. Write a life mission statement over the next couple of weeks. Because when you get it, I promise you, your days are going to look different. Your weeks are going to look different. Your months are going to look different. Your years are going to look different. Your work's going to look different. Your family's going to look different. Your life is going to look different. Could you imagine if Steve showed back up in a couple years? And he put a chart up there, like the Jesus chart. Each season of your life with the highlights of what you did that aligned with God's purpose. What a joy. Acts chapter 4 says, David fulfilled God's purpose for his life, and then he died. Wouldn't that be a great statement to have on your tombstone? Mac fulfilled God's purpose for his life, and then he died. When you have a life mission statement, it becomes a guide that helps you filter decisions that you can live a life on purpose and on mission for God's kingdom. You guys, thanks so much.